Thanks, listeners, for joining us for today's Elko Live here on KELK. We love Tuesdays because that's the day we get updated in city news and issues. And as always, a lot going on citywide, especially when it comes to events and activities, concerts, rodeos, you name it. It is a huge weekend. Silver State Stampede, the legend lives on, and we've got those big livestock trucks rolling in, and there's going to be camera crews here because it's broadcast on the Cowboy Channel.
Yes, it's on the Cowboy Channel, which is right. They've done such a great job with that event, and I know I drove by yesterday, and all the livestock is arriving, and the action's in town. So That's cool.
It's hopping, and of course we're visiting with our Elko City Manager. Jan Baum joins us in studio, and it's always great, Jan, to catch up with you and to just thank the employees, all the city staff for all the work that they're doing, to keep operations going smoothly. And speaking of this afternoon City Council meeting, I think this one's a record breaker for a really unusual reason, right?
Absolutely. I know I've had a few people say, I think I missed a page or I missed something, but it is probably the smallest agenda we've ever had. And but anyway, so a couple important items. So we're going to award the micro slurry and Cape Seal for the city, and so everybody beware. Here comes the street department is going to start doing their annual maintenance, and that'll be great for the city. So and then of course approving the minutes and the warrants. So. That's it.
That's it. 4:00 today, City Council chambers. By the time you log on, it might be over. So
don't blink.
Exactly. And that's nice. Everybody deserves a break because there's a lot going on. I hear great things about the golf course, Jan, and restaurant operations. People are having a wonderful time. The course looks beautiful.
Yes, it does. I know I was up there yesterday for a tour with James, our Parks and Rec director, and James Wiley, and he said, "Oh, there's some brown spots and different spots." I'm like, it's 95 degrees. I thought it looked great, and so it does look great. And some of the brown spots they're working on and going to water those places manually. And you're right, it's busy up there, and we're just thrilled.
Yes, and I know the city pool limping along, but still things are operating as best as possible.
Yes, it is operating as best as possible. We've had a few issues just this week, but they're managing again with a manual process that so some of the equipment isn't working the way that we would like it to work, but we're keeping it open, and the indoor pool only. Just in case people don't know, but we do. The indoor pool is open for the summer.
Yep. So look forward to that, and then brighter things on the horizon for the city swimming pool, which we'll talk more about in future sessions because, like I said, it's not on the agenda today. So
it's not, and if anybody attended or listened to the June 27th meeting, we did enter a contract with the Boys and Girls Club to convey some of the land there by the current pool for the new rec center. And so it's exciting for the city and all of our residents. We're really excited to have that project get going. So so we're excited about that.
Yep, rec center, aquatic center, all there on the side of the existing pool, and it will be done in such a manner that we can keep the existing pool open for as long as possible.
As long as possible, yes. So you have we have a lot of people that use the pool, the swim team, and some of our lap swimmers, and some different exercise classes, and so we want to try to keep those going as long as we can.
Great, Jan. Thank you for the update there. And then obviously some ball fields, or at least one's going to be preserved. A little bit of a pause right now on the event center, but that gives people a chance to kind of go back and collect and do some more research on the history of the property and any encumbrances.
Yes, absolutely. When we were doing our due diligence on the land, we found an encumbrance on the Herrera fields. And so we're looking into that, visiting with the state a little bit to see what exactly a conversion process entails, and if it's something that we can accomplish or not, and like you said, and then we'll visit about it as we go along and learn more.
All right. Thanks, Jan. And then some terrific news regarding air service development, at least what the city has been able, as we talk about watering the green spots, apparently some things are working on.
Yes, so we had an amazing June. Jim Foster, our manager at the airport, is just thrilled with June. We almost hit 1,000 employments. We were 4 passengers short, unfortunately, but it was a great June. Our minimum revenue guarantee was the lowest ever. It was a little under $50,000, so that was simply amazing. And then we also have some other great news that I think the community will really respond to and be real excited about. It's been confirmed in September. I believe it's September 5th or 6th. The return overnight flight will return to Elko. So the flights will fly in the late evening. I don't know the exact times. I want to say around 8:30, and then leave at 6:30 in the morning. And that's the flight that everybody really likes. It's very conducive to our businesses in town. And so anyway, we're really excited that will come back in September. And then we're starting up our Air Alliance. So hopefully more information on the Air Alliance as well.
Jan, thank you. The due diligence really pays off. SkyWest obviously appreciates the commitment the community and the city have to regional air service, and they want to keep flying.
Absolutely, we have been committed. That's for sure. And the commercial flight into Elko is so important for our businesses, for healthcare, for education, and for business development. And so it's so important for our city, not just the city, but the entire region and our catchment area. So we're very committed, and hopefully it's going to pay off.
Yep, sounds like it. We're on our way, and I know I'll be talking with our local lawmaker, Bert Gurr. He's going to come on the radio Friday, and this is one of the most important things he worked on during the legislative session. Absolutely,
he helped with the air bill, and I can't remember the name of it, but yes. They funded the bill for $1 million a year for AIP assistant funding, and so actually we have a first meeting about that tomorrow, I believe. So that'll be great.
Fantastic, Jan. And don't worry about remembering bills, because I think a lot of us try to put that stuff out of our minds, at least for the summer.
Right? I think it was AB 58, and yeah. So and then I do have a little public service announcement. James Wiley also informed us that the goats are moving down to the river tomorrow, and they have been up at the Snow Bowl, and so they do weed abatement for us, and so they are moving down to the river. And so if people are walking their dogs along the river, please have them leashed, because there are a lot of goats. There's a couple hundred of them, and so not good if there are dogs chasing the goats, because there are also the goat herder also has dogs that protect the goats, and so we just want to minimize any conflict. And so please, if you're walking your pets along the river, keep them on a leash and keep them away from the goats.
Oh, that's great. But that's a wonderful tool to use in natural weed abatement and kind of keeping that area pristine. That's great. Thanks for the update. And we also wanted to just remind there are some positions open within the city of Elko.
Yes, we have 3. There might be more, but there are 3 positions that are on my head right now. There's a development manager for our development department. And then there's a patrol officer. We have several openings for patrol officers, and then a records tech and evidence tech at the patrol at the PD as well, and then a firefighter opening, and those don't come up very often. And so I wanted to mention those.
All right, Jan, thank you. Go to the city website, elkocity.com.
elkocity.com.
All right, we'll send them that way and hopefully get those positions filled. It's an exciting career opportunity, good benefits, and you get to work with really motivated people who are just dedicated professionals.
Absolutely. I'm a little biased, but I think we have an amazing team, and it would be a great career move for people that are looking for a career in our area.
All right. Jan Baum is our Elko City Manager. And speaking of people who are dedicated and passionate about what they do, you brought with you today a very special guest, and we hear lots of great things about Elisa, but I thought you would like a chance to introduce her.
Absolutely. So Elisa Mangum is our animal shelter manager, and she has been there since before the first of the year. So I want to say October, November-ish, and she's doing an amazing job. She loves pets, and she does a really good job. And not only is she very caring, but she also she manages this little business, right? And there's some tough decisions that she has to make, and I think she does an amazing job. So, but anyway, and she, I believe, do you have an opening as well?
It has closed.
Oh, darn. Okay.
Well, hopefully you have some great applicants, Elisa. Yes.
We are doing the interview process right now, and we have met with a few people, and we're excited in the turnout.
Oh, that's wonderful to know. Elisa Mangum is the Elko City Animal Shelter Manager. First of all, welcome, Elisa. And I do want people to know that you have a great background when it comes to caring for animals and pets. And if you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself.
Well, thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Jan, for introducing me. I am a licensed veterinary technician. I have worked for the animal shelter for 12 years now, so it is not something new, but definitely looking at it from a different perspective. It has been wonderful, and also helping me grow as a person in the community, and being able to be more helpful for our animals.
And what would you say in describing the goal of the Elko City Animal Shelter? Because we know communities, large and small, kind of struggle with shelter issues, don't they?
They do. Our goal is to, of course, find the very best homes for all of these animals, make sure our adoptions are, on the high end of things, making sure that our animals are all spayed and neutered, and just trying to do the very best for our pets, since we want to be their advocates since they don't have any. Oh,
and you do find support. I know you have a great core of volunteers. There's even a special organization, a nonprofit dedicated to just what you described, spay and neuter, and that would be LASSO?
Yes, it's the local animal shelter support organization. They help with our spay-neuter clinic, so they help with the funding that keeps that rolling, as well as the city. So they work very closely with us to make sure that decreases our number of intakes coming into the shelter. If we can keep the animals spayed and neutered, that helps with the unwanted pet population.
Yeah, that's a huge responsibility, and we can talk more about that too on this part of the program. And you also work closely with our partners, city and county animal control officers, right, Elisa?
Yes, we have two wonderful animal control officers. One for the county, Leanne Smith, and then the one for the city, which is Katie Litchfield. They are both wonderful. They do their jobs amazingly, and we work very closely with them. To help get the pets home, or get to the bottom of any circumstances that we run into.
And it's important that we explain to people, there's a reason why we don't want pets to roam at large, right? We don't want at-large animals.
It's people say, well, they're just doing dog things, but dog things can get them into trouble, whether that means going into somebody's yard and getting into their livestock, or even running in the road and darting in front of a car that somebody may not see them. So we definitely want to keep our animals safe and home. And of course, if you do lose your pet, please make the shelter the first call.
All right. The Elko City Animal Shelter at 775-777-7333. Okay, that's the right number. Good. Okay. So we should probably start with looking at some of the numbers to let you, describe this opportunity that the community has to participate in keeping the numbers low, because it would be best to have an empty shelter at all times, but that's not been happening, right?
It has not. We have been quite full, for the majority of the beginning of this year. We are halfway through. As of the 8th, our statistics show we have a total of 833 incoming animals into the shelter this year, which if you look over a year span, that's looking like it, would come out to be about 1,600, which would be less than last year of 1,800. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that, we keep going with this trend. But as of right now, we have 10 total dogs in the shelter and 13 cats. So we're sitting pretty good right now.
All right. And we should probably back up a bit and describe what are the parameters of the animal shelter. And I know it was improved not too long ago, a few years ago, out of necessity. But, it's a pretty modest operation, right?
It is. If in regards to finding animals, we intake strays, we hang on to animals as humane holds, things like that, taking care of them until, their person is able to come get them. And the adoption has been a 7-day stray period. We hold our animals 7 full days before they are released for adoption, and then they get to go to their new forever home.
Oh, and the shelter is located at 2210 Pinion Road, which is the same road that you take off to the landfill, right? So,
yep.
Okay. So, again, the sad news is that the shelter does have to euthanize animals, Elisa, but that's why it's so important to spay and neuter so we don't have unwanted pets, litters.
Yes, spaying and neuter is crucial to our community, and one cat can have a litter of kittens, and if you don't get that litter of kittens spayed, and say you have 6 kittens, you could end up with 4 to 6 more kittens, and so the numbers increase, dramatically over a short period of time. So spaying and neutering your pets will help decrease the population. And also, of course, we do have some feral cat issues, which animal control has been a great help in trying to eliminate some of that as well in regards to keeping our public safe.
There are some local animal rescue groups, Elise, and I know you wanted to mention them along with some of the others, partners from outside, which might focus on specific breeds or situations, because they're also important to keeping these pets out of that system or being euthanized, sadly.
Yes, we've had some wonderful help from Animal House Rescue and Sanctuary. They also help keep the animals at the homeless camp vaccinated and spayed and neutered and up to date on everything. So they are a very wonderful resource for our community, as well as Endless Possibilities. They have also reached out and helped with some of our animals in need as well. So it does. Rescue groups keep us open and moving, as well as us working with the SPCA and Humane Society out of Reno as well, because that decreases our numbers of animals in our shelter, so that we are not at capacity, because when a shelter is full to capacity, you worry about illness and things like that. So we work very closely with them, and we are grateful for the community, of course, too, for our adoptions, because without them we would not be where we're at.
Elisa Mangum is the Elko City Animal Shelter Manager and our guest today alongside our City Manager, Jan Baum, as we're talking about city issues. How many kennels, I guess, do we have? How many dogs can we have, and how many cats or kittens?
So we have 28 dog kennels, and we have 36 cat kennels, but of course we split those in half so that the cats have plenty of room to play. So
yeah, I can't imagine, having pets myself, having an animal confined to that space for anything more than 7 days, that would be really rough, right?
Yes.
Again, that's why it's important, and you do have volunteers. And let's talk about now the animal shelter fees, because it really is a bargain when you consider what you get when you adopt a stray or maybe the result of an unwanted litter from the city animal shelter.
Our fees are very low compared to what I've heard from some of the surrounding areas. Our dogs are $85. That includes them getting spayed or neutered, microchip, rabies vaccinated, parvo, distemper, and bordetella vaccine. And that pretty much sets them up to take to their vet just for a basic health exam and maybe getting to know their new vet. And, our cat adoptions are $65, and that includes all of the same things as well.
And again, those fees can be paid in cash, credit, or even debit cards right there at the animal shelter. And what are the hours of operation?
So it varies. Monday through Friday, we are open from 10 to 3 to the public, and then Saturday we are open from noon to 3, Sunday 11 to 2.
Okay, and of course closed on holidays. And you touched on it too, that if someone's missing a pet, I mean, that can be the most frightening. I mean, people love their pets, and it's probably arguable, but some would say as much as their children. And so if your pet comes up missing, I think there were like 17 over the 4th of July, right?
Yes. We had quite the intake on the 4th of July. But it could have been more than that. So we are grateful for the families to keep their pets home and safe, and not scared and worried about the loud booms. But yes, definitely, if your animal goes missing, please call the shelter. We can take down a lost card. We'll keep our eyes open for your pets. We definitely want to make sure that they make it home safe.
Now, it used to be said, too, that if you are missing a pet, it is good to try to visit the shelter in case your pet doesn't, the description you have, what your image of the pet is, doesn't quite match.
Sometimes we might not always be on the same page. We definitely want you to check the local city page. So the cityofelko.com is the best page to check. That's our first site that we place our animals on. So if you go to the city site, click on departments, click on animal shelter, you will see all of our pets on there. And then petfinder.com is also a good one. But a phone call to us immediately is probably very best. That way we can keep our eyes open. And then we also say social media is wonderful because there's a lot of people out there that can help you look for your pet.
Yeah, and they want to, and they will keep their eyes peeled. And we can say from personal experience that when our city patrol, our animal control officer, Katie Litchfield, shows up, it's, she's so calm and she has such a great demeanor. We've had just 3 different strays on 3 different occasions come to the house. And fortunately, 2 of the 3 were microchipped, and that makes a big difference, Elisa.
It does. Microchipping your pet is wonderful because of the fact that if they lose their tag or they're crawling out of the fence and hang up their tag and pull their head out of there, you won't know where they belong. So microchipping your pet, animal control will scan the pet for a microchip, and then we can get them home a lot sooner than at least posting them and going through the worry of, are they okay? Is everything okay? So.
Yeah, and again, having 2 out of 3 microchipped was good, and it's also reassuring to know that the dogs are going home to where they're missed and they're loved, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in the alternative, obviously, Elisa, if an animal is not adopted, or, you try your best to match the pet with a rescue group, right? Because they can only stay for a week.
Well, they can stay as long as our capacity is kept at a decent amount because, people worry about bringing in animals to us when they find them because we are a kill facility. We have worked our best and hardest to, get every animal adopted, find them the best placement. And just because we have to hold them 7 days doesn't mean after the 7 days that means that animal is not going to be there no longer. We hold for as long as we have space. And once we start getting full, we're doing the legwork. We're trying to reach out to any of the local rescues that are able to take any of our animals. So we try our best to move them to a place where they don't have to worry about that.
Oh, that's good to hear. And another way to avoid, it's part of pet ownership, is to make sure you purchase a license, right? Another way to track down a pet's owner, possibly?
Yes. So every year we require a new license, both for the city and the county. The city, you license is at the animal shelter. We ask that you license, the first section of the year. We do actually start selling our license mid-December, so as long as you're in there before March 1st, we're happy with that. There will be no late fee to that. But for the county, if you do live in the county, reach out to the county clerk's office for their stipulations.
And the city cost is $20 if the dog is not neutered or spayed, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And it's only $5 if they are spayed or neutered.
So there you are. And then there is a bit of a late fee if it's after February 28th of $5 as well. But that's an important point, too, that the city of Elko operates the animal shelter, but it really is a regional facility, right, Elisa?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So I don't know did you want to chime in, Jan, and how that relationship works? Because I know the city and the county share some resources, obviously.
Absolutely. The city of Elko doesn't have a jail, so and the sheriff's office does, and then we have the city obviously has the animal shelter, and then some other regional assets that we have are the landfill and the airport as well. So it's a small community, and we all get it done. So
we work cooperatively, yeah. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like, we might be getting the better deal right now because having an inmate's pretty expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So from what we hear from the sheriff. So, but all the animals are taken. Thank you, Jan, very much. The animals are taken to the Elko City Animal Shelter for safekeeping. And then, Elisa, is our city shelter in a position, or if people are worried about like a shelter in West Wendover or the city of Carlin, do we help those shelters at all sometimes, or what can?
Well, since the city of Elko Animal Shelter is such a small facility, we try to, we'll help with transports or, working with rescue groups that way. But, we don't really take in animals from any of the other counties just for the fact that our county is so big and our shelter is so small. So if they need help in regards to doing some legwork and trying to find some rescue groups to help empty their shelter, we have only been a phone call away. I know that we've talked with Carlin and, they've helped us, we've helped them. So there has been that commitment between the two.
Oh, that's good to know, because it is all about the care and welfare of the animals. And again, it's a reflection on each community, how they can best care for the animals that reside within their limits. So I want to make sure we're getting to all of the topics that you were hoping to today. Oh, we did say we would mention spaying and neutering. It is an important part of pet ownership that people go to their veterinarian, right? But every animal you adopt from this city shelter will be either spayed or neutered, correct?
That is correct, yes. And we just had a spay neuter today. We got 10 animals adopted out, and they were spayed and neutered this morning. So we work that weekly so to make sure that our animals are adopted before they leave, so that we don't have to worry about the owner bringing them back and worrying about any of that. So
right. And it's that, again, that responsibility. It's really inconvenient to have animals, going in and out of heat and trying to, keep track of that. And then, of course, if there is, an unintended litter, the responsibility of making sure those animals get good homes. That's huge, because, each dog or cat can have, 5 or 6 puppies or kittens.
Exactly. And if an animal's in heat, males will travel for quite a distance. So, making sure that if your animal is unfixed, that you are being a responsible pet owner as well.
So we do want to mention that because of LASSO, the local animal shelter support organization, you're able to accomplish, in partnership with the local vets, this spay-neuter clinic that you do weekly, right?
So we do have our vet on staff, and we do work with our local vets as well in regards to making sure that any animal that comes in that is injured or needs assistance, that they are seen and taken care of.
Okay. I want to make sure, Elisa, that we also give listeners an opportunity if someone does have like a question or a concern about how an animal's cared for, does it have adequate shelter, food, water, that kind of thing. What's the best way to maybe handle a concern, would you suggest?
So the concerns need to go to animal control. Since the shelter is just the housing facility for the animals, our animal control officers are the resource that they need to reach out to, which they can contact through dispatch. That would be the 777-7300, and that would be the best resource for them. They can always call if they have any questions or concerns, and if the public has any questions on how the shelter operates, please reach out. Ask questions. We are happy to answer anything for you.
That's really good to know. 775-777-7300, and that's the number to call if you have any questions or concerns. If you maybe there's a barking dog, maybe that's a nuisance, or maybe maybe you believe they have too many animals, or maybe even too many chickens, right? Yeah.
Yes, because there are limitations in the city, and there are things that, animal control can, list out for them on how many animals that they can have, as well as if you just even feel concerned for a pet, you could call animal control, voice your concerns, and they can point you in the right direction.
And as Elisa Mangum has described, both of our officers in the county, it's Leanne Smith, and in the city, it's Katie Litchfield. My personal experience in working with Katie, she is amazing, and I just can't imagine that she would conduct herself in any way other than just kind and professional, and she would help a pet owner understand, if someone would have a concern, whether it's a barking dog or if the dog doesn't have water. Even a dog that's tied in a yard is probably something people could ask to check into, right?
Exactly, because there should be there's certain stipulations on how long a dog is tied up in the yard, whether it has protection from the sun or the elements. If it's cold outside, is there heat source? Things like that. Everybody that works in the animal industry has a big heart, so we want to make sure that they're cared for and taken care of, and I would have to say our animal control officers are definitely part of that.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Elisa. And with the temperatures climbing to near 100 by this weekend, what do we want to say about pets in cars?
The temperature in a car can increase quickly. Katie has these wonderful little handouts at the shelter that we can hand out to you, and we will also post them on our volunteer page. But the heat can increase quite quickly in a car, even if you have the windows cracked. You definitely don't want to bring your pets. If you are just going to run to the store, they're probably happy laying on the air-conditioned couch. So I would suggest leaving pets at home, as well as asphalt. If they're walking on the sidewalk, if they're walking in the parking lot, that black asphalt gets so hot it can actually singe and burn the dog's pads. So please be considerate of your pets.
Oh, a little splash pad or a pool for them would also be nice.
Lots of water.
Yes, definitely. Well, I know we covered a lot of ground today with Elisa Mangum, and she is our Elko City Animal Shelter Manager. You're welcome to give a shout out to all your employees and volunteers if you want.
Yeah. Yes, I want to reach out and tell all the employees at the animal shelter, thank you for what you do. We don't get very many thank yous, but their job it's a hard job, and I appreciate every one of them, as well as our volunteers helping get our animals transported to rescues, even coming in to socialize our animals. Our volunteers and our shelter staff are amazing.
Well, thanks, Elisa. I really appreciate the work that you do. We were discussing before we went on the air, and she thinks I have a hard job. Oh, no, she's got the hard job. So thank you so much. And I know the community appreciates you. As I said, just having you come on the program, how many people really appreciate the work that you're doing on our behalf. So thank you. Yes,
thank
absolutely. You. And Jan, thanks for bringing Elisa. And
thank you.
Yeah. Did you think of anything else?
I just want to mention the phone number one more time, and just mention that that if there is a pet concern about the caring of a pet, or if you have a lost pet, or you see a stray animal, to call that 775-777-7300, and that's in the county as well as the city. So please remember, even if you're in the county, go ahead and call dispatch, and either Leanne or Katie will probably help you out.
Thank you, Jan. Jan Baum is our city manager, again on the doorstep of what could be the shortest city council meeting in the history, which is not a bad thing. Jan's like, I don't know what to say, but thank you to the assistant city manager, Scott Wilkinson, for putting that agenda together. I hope it wasn't too much of a heavy lift for you, Scott. And again, the council meeting will be at 4 o'clock today, is however long it takes, and we'll look forward to future discussions on Tuesdays here on Elko Live on KELK. Thank you both, ladies, for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you, Elisa.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us for Elko Live.